The Amazon is one of the most structurally complex forests on the planet. Light, humidity, and temperature change constantly with every increase in height. That difference creates entirely distinct habitats. Each predator truly comes into its own only in the space it evolved to fit. That is why the Amazon operates like many ecosystems within a single forest. The Amazon forest not only spreads out horizontally, but rises more than 40 meters high. Within that space exist countless layers of life, and each layer has a ruler of its own. From the sunlit canopy at the top down to the leaf litter on the ground, the light diminishes with every meter. The lower one goes, the more the masters of concealment gain the advantage. What happens in the upper layer rarely ends right there. A single feather, a piece of fruit rind, or a scrap of falling prey can each open a new hunt. The journey begins in the forest's highest canopy, where the treetops catch the full early light of day. It is also the sky that belongs to great wings. The harpy eagle masters that space with its sharp eyes and wide circling arcs. From dozens of meters up, it still picks out the smallest movement among the leaves. Each of its talons is more curved and thicker than a grizzly bear's claws, strong enough to pierce the dense fur of large monkeys. It is what decides the entire hunt. Below, the monkeys still swing from branch to branch among the ripe fruit. The sunlight that draws them to the very tops is also what exposes them to the eyes of others. From high above, the harpy suddenly folds its wings and dives through the gaps between the crowns. What it aims for is a monkey absorbed in looking ahead. Its talons clamp shut on the prey's back and lock rigid by natural reflex. The more it thrashes, the harder it is for the monkey to escape the grip of the aerial hunter. The harpy carries its prey back to the tallest treetop to begin its meal. At that height, almost no predator has the ability to climb up and steal it away. As it eats, small tufts of fur slowly spin and fall down through the layers of canopy. They unwittingly carry the first sign of another hunt. A few feathers land on the middle layer of branches, where more than half the light has already been held back by the crowns above. From here, darkness begins to become the ambusher's advantage. The Amazon's middle branch layer is dense with crisscrossing boughs and thick foliage. The light is cut into small ribbons, creating countless hiding places. Coiled around a moss-covered branch is the 2-meter-plus body of a tree boa. It blends almost entirely into the vines, only its eyes still quietly watching. Not far off, an ocelot lies pressed flat on a large branch, its spotted coat blending into the patches of the sunlight scattered through the leaves. Only its ears still faintly stir. Right on a slender leaf stalk, a green tree viper blends almost entirely into the young green. Its scales match the color of the leaves exactly, making it very hard to spot. Three species share a single forest layer, but each hunts a different way. One uses constricting power, one ambushes, and the other waits for a single precise strike. Just then, from the canopy above, a toucan with its large bill drops down in search of the last remaining clusters of fruit. It does not know it has just flown into the most dangerous lair. The moment its feet touch the bark, the boa's coils spring out in the blink of an eye. The distance is too close for its wide wings to open in time to escape. The toucan thrashes violently, making the whole branch shudder with each beat. Those vibrations instantly draw the gaze of the ocelot and the viper on the leaf stalk. The ocelot only lifts its head slightly to observe, then presses itself flat against the branch as before. That prey already belongs to another, so it continues to wait for its own chance. After swallowing its prey, a few orange-yellow feathers slowly drift down from the middle branch layer. They spin gently, then keep falling toward the darker layer of forest. Below 2 layers of canopy, the Amazon floor receives only very little of the light that filters through. Any creature that descends here needs time to adapt. A thick layer of leaf litter blankets the ground, concealing the movement beneath. Amid that darkness, an agouti still sits calmly gnawing the seeds it has just gathered. On the Amazon floor, the agouti is a rodent that specializes in finding seeds fallen from the canopy. That very habit also makes it frequently become prey. Amid the leaf litter blanketing the ground, a spotted shape approaches with almost no sound at all. The distance between hunter and prey gradually closes. It is the jaguar, ruler of the Amazon's ground layer. Its immensely powerful jaws let it perform the skull-piercing bite that very few cats can manage. In a single short lunge, its jaws clamp shut on the top of the agouti's head and quickly end the hunt. It all happens before the prey can react. But this leaf litter layer belongs not only to the large predators. Right beneath the dry leaves are many smaller creatures, enough to make every step wary. A Goliath spider lies motionless beneath the leaf litter, its body larger than a human hand. Its defensive hairs cause a fierce burning irritation. On an exposed root not far off, a long line of bullet ants still moves one behind another. Their sting is considered the most painful in the insect world. Within just a few square meters, the ground layer already holds danger of every size. Jaws, venom, and defensive hairs all lie on a single forest floor. Another agouti that just witnessed the hunt bolts in panic. On instinct, it dashes for the nearest root hollow, a place many species choose as a hiding spot. The creature quickly burrows deep into the dark, damp cavity beneath the colossal roots. Such aged root hollows form a layer of life hidden beneath the ground. This is the fourth layer of the Amazon, where light can barely reach. In that darkness, smell and touch are often more reliable than the eyes. But in the very root hollow, the agouti has just dashed into, a body already lies coiled and waiting. Bands of red, black, and yellow signal a coral snake. In the darkness of the root hollow, the snake hardly needs its sight. Its body pressed against the rotting wood lets it clearly sense every vibration drawing near. Just as the agouti backs toward the hollow's mouth, another danger appears. A centipede over 30 centimeters long crawls slowly straight inside. This centipede hunts both mice and small snakes and tracks scent very effectively. In just a moment, the agouti is trapped between two hunters at either end. Fortunately, its small body lets it slip through the narrow gap between the centipede and the hollow wall. The instant it escapes the darkness, it races toward the light ahead. That light comes from a branch of the river reflecting through the dense foliage. After 4 layers of ever-darkening forest, the open space by the water suddenly opens up before it. The riverbank marks the final layer in the forest's map of survival. Below the surface, there is nowhere left to hide, only the world of the ambushers. In the late afternoon, a group of capybaras leisurely makes its way down to the water's edge to drink after a whole day of foraging. But beneath the murky water, 3 predators already lie in wait. A school of red-bellied piranhas patrols midstream. An electric eel lies still beneath the bottom mud, and a black caiman quietly hides beneath the water plants along the bank. Each species claims a stretch of water and has a hunting method of its own. They do not compete with one another. And so this stretch of river is sealed from the bottom up to the bank. The agouti stops at the water's edge, not daring to step further. Behind it is the forest it just escaped, while ahead opens an entirely different layer of danger. From the sun-drenched canopy, to the root hollow's sunken darkness, to the murky river, every layer of the Amazon belongs to a ruler of its own. In the Amazon, no layer is truly safe, and there is no way out. To cross into another layer is also to step into the rules of another master. On the chest of the jaguar, draped along a branch by the river, stands out a scar. That mark curves around the rib cage rather than running straight. It is a constriction wound left by a colossal body that once coiled around it to the point of suffocation. In all the Amazon, only one creature is powerful enough to leave such a mark. But that wound is not where today's story begins. It all actually started on a quiet morning by that familiar stretch of river. As usual, the jaguar leaves its branch and follows the water's edge in search of its first prey. Climbing trees, swimming, and hunting are all this creature's specialties. The early sunlight falls across the small tributary amid the dense forest. On the wet mud along the bank stands out a drag mark running along the water's edge. The jaguar silently follows that trail with the patience of a seasoned hunter. Caimans, basking in the morning sun, are a familiar meal for it. Up ahead, a spectacled caiman less than 2 meters long lies motionless on the mudflat. The early day sun is only now beginning to warm its body. The jaguar lowers its body and creeps in through the grass along the bank. When the distance is close enough, it instantly springs toward the basking prey. In a single precise lunge, the jaguar's powerful jaws clamp shut over the top of the caiman's skull. It is the bite that made this creature's name. Instead of choking the throat like many other cats, the jaguar ends the hunt with a bite through the skull. The caiman quickly goes still on the grass. And yet that prey was too small for a body weighing nearly 100 kilos. The meal is over, but the hunger has not eased at all. On a larger branch of the river not far off, a dark-colored body lies basking on a sandbank. Its size is nearly double that of the prey just brought down. It is a full-grown black caiman, the largest crocodilian in the Americas, exceeding 5 meters in length. It is entirely different from the spectacled caiman of the morning. But the too-easy hunt from before is still fresh in the jaguar's mind. From where it looks across, the thing on the sand is just a larger caiman. Without a moment's hesitation, the jaguar plunges into the water and swims straight toward the sandbank on the other side. Its swimming ability has always helped it reach even prey in the water. The instant it sets foot on the sand, the jaguar accelerates and charges straight at the black caiman. The point it aims for is still the familiar spot in the middle of the skull top. But this time the two fangs only skid hard across the thick bone, unable to pierce through. The very same bite, and the result is completely reversed. The black caiman instantly swings its massive tail in a powerful sideways strike. The blow flings the jaguar off its back and hurls it hard down onto the wet sand. Not missing the chance, the caiman whips around with blinding speed and gapes its colossal jaws wide. The rows of sharp teeth instantly turn toward the jaguar before it can even rise. It keeps driving the jaguar back toward the deep water's edge, where every advantage belongs to it. It only needs to drag its opponent into the water, and the tide of the fight will turn completely. Seizing the instant the caiman falters, the jaguar escapes the reach of the jaws and plunges into the water. It swims with all its strength to return to the forest bank on the far side. Reaching the bank, its shoulder and flank now bear several fresh marks. A single difference in size was enough to reverse the entire encounter. The technique that had brought down its prey that morning is now useless. The same species of prey, but that thicker skull changed everything. 2 hunts in a row have ended unfinished, and the hunger is still not filled. The jaguar leaves the riverbank and moves deep into the forest, where it feels more confident. Moving deep into the leaf-littered forest floor, the jaguar catches a familiar scent on the midday breeze. It is the trail of a herd of peccaries that has just passed through. The white-lipped peccary carries sharp tusks and a body large enough to make a worthwhile meal. For the still hungry jaguar, that opportunity is very hard to pass up. It presses itself behind a large trunk and silently watches the whole herd drawing near. It only needs one to break away to the fringe, and the hunt will begin. Just as a male walks right past the base of the tree, The jaguar suddenly springs from its hiding place. The precise pounce instantly pins the prey down onto the leaf litter. Its jaws clamp hard into the top of the skull and quickly end the hunt. The technique that skidded off on the sand earlier now works to its full specialty. Even so, the peccary manages one short cry before it collapses. That sound quickly reaches the ears of the whole herd not far away. In just seconds, the whole herd wheels around all at once and charges back toward the source of the cry. For this species, strength always lies in staying together. Hundreds of pounding steps surge across the leaf litter, carrying countless tusks aimed straight at the jaguar. The quiet patch of forest instantly shudders violently. No longer trying to keep its prey, the jaguar immediately lets go and leaps straight up the nearest trunk. To face the whole peccary herd on the ground would only put it at a disadvantage. Below, the peccary herd quickly closes the space around the base of the tree. Their frenzied cries ring through the forest like a warning. A single peccary can become a jaguar's meal. But when the whole herd gathers, even the strongest in the forest must deliberately withdraw. More than half an hour later, the peccary herd finally leaves the spot. When it climbs down to the ground, all it finds is a bit of hair and a few bone fragments trampled into the leaf litter. 3 hunts in a row have all ended in failure, and the hunger has still not eased. It resigns itself to seeking a small pool to quench its thirst before sunset. The pool lies hidden beneath a dense canopy, its surface covered in leaf litter, pitch dark, and almost without a single ripple. That very stillness makes everything harder to predict. It lowers its head to drink mouthful after mouthful, all 4 legs still braced firm on the damp mud along the bank. Experience has never allowed it to be careless even for a single moment. Right beneath the black water covering the submerged roots is a body over 7 meters long, coiled motionless. The anaconda has patiently lain in wait there for a long time. With not a single ripple to warn it, the colossal body suddenly wraps tight around the jaguar's ribcage. In just an instant, each breath is squeezed slowly shut. The jaguar thrashes and drags its body up out of the water's edge. The anaconda still squeezes tight around the jaguar's neck, trying to pull it back to the water's edge. The jaguar thrashes violently and claws hard again and again at its opponent's head and neck. Those fierce blows of resistance finally make the coils slacken. Seizing that brief instant, it pours all its strength into wrenching its body free and lunges out of the coils. The anaconda slowly slithers back to coil itself up in the dark pool as though it had never moved. It does not give chase, for that patch of water was already the perfect trap. On the jaguar's golden coat, a red streak still stands out clearly, curving around the ribcage. That constriction mark will stay with it for a long time after the encounter. Throughout the Amazon, every layer of space has a ruler of its own. The jaguar masters the forest floor, but descend into the deep water and the power belongs to another. In the Amazon, strength does not belong to the one who always defeats every opponent. It belongs to the one who knows its own limits and leaves before every chance at life disappears. In the papyrus swamps of Uganda, a shadow nearly 1.5 meters tall stands motionless in shallow water. Amber eyes looking straight ahead, the enormous beak curving downward as though smiling. That is the shoebill. With a wingspan of more than 2.5 meters and a face that seems to have stepped out of prehistoric times, it is one of the strangest birds in Africa. Suddenly, the two edges of the beak slam together. A sharp, dry crack echoes across the swamp like wood striking wood, the distinctive sound of this species. Then everything sinks back into silence. The shoebill almost never moves, but its eyes continue tracking every small ripple spreading out through the reeds. Beneath the black mud is the African lungfish, one of the most ancient fish species still in existence. Though it lives underwater, it must periodically surface to breathe. That is the weakness the shoebill exploits. Air bubbles rising from the bottom mud reveal where the lungfish is hiding, and the shoebill only needs to stand and wait at exactly that spot. 10 minutes, then half an hour pass. It does not stir. In this hunt, what determines success is not speed, but absolute patience. But the swamp has never truly been still. A hippopotamus wades through, heavy legs churning up the bottom mud and sending waves rippling across the surface. The shoebill immediately adjusts position behind it. It knows that disturbances at the bottom often cause fish hiding in the mud to lower their guard. The hippo passes out of sight and the mud gradually settles. The shoebill stops, eyes locked onto the spot in the water where air bubbles have begun rising steadily. The long neck muscles begin to compress very slowly, loading force for a single strike. Yet the expression on its face does not change at all, still blank, still unhurried. Then the lungfish pushes its head up and opens its mouth to gulp air. At that exact moment, the shoebill drops its entire body forward, head, neck, and body driving down like a falling hammer. The lungfish still thrashes violently inside the shoe-shaped beak, but the hook at the tip of the bill holds it in place. Only seconds later, the prey has disappeared down the shoebill's throat. After swallowing, the shoebill stands still again at the water's edge. But this time, it does not look down at the swamp surface. It looks up to track a wing shadow that has just passed overhead. That is an African fish eagle, wingspan nearly 2 meters. In this wetland, it is one of the most formidable rivals the shoebill faces. Drawn by the hunt that just unfolded, the eagle drops lower, circling the area of water where the lungfish was just pulled from the mud, probing for an opportunity. The shoebill does not retreat. It spreads its enormous wings wide and raises the shoe-shaped beak toward the rival in an unmistakable declaration. After a few circling passes, the eagle changes course and flies away. The shoebill folds its wings and returns to its familiar silent stance among the reeds. But what matters most to it is not on the water surface. Deep within the expanse of papyrus is a large nest of dry grass, where the next generation is beginning its life. Each breeding season, the shoebill typically lays 2 eggs. After more than a month of continuous incubation, the first chicks begin breaking through the thick white shell. They are born with fluffy gray down and a still stubby beak. It is hard to believe that these small bewildered chicks will one day rule the swamp. With each passing day, they begin leaving their resting spot, practicing balance on their long legs and observing every movement of the marsh around them. But the swamp does not provide enough food for both to grow. When the beaks begin to harden, the competition between the 2 siblings also begins. Very quickly, the larger one starts to gain the advantage. It always appears first whenever the parents bring fish back and gradually pushes the younger one toward the edge of the nest. In the end, most nests are left with only 1 chick. The parents barely intervene, allowing that harsh competition to select the individual strong enough to reach adulthood. A few months later, the sole surviving chick has grown large enough to leave the nest and begin an independent life. The gray down has given way to adult plumage, and the shoe beak hardening steadily with time. One day, the spot it chooses is not beside lungfish bubbles, but a crocodile nest a few meters away, where the mother crocodile is lying guard over her just hatched young. The mother crocodile quickly registers the unusual visitor appearing near the nest. She holds her position, eyes never leaving the tall shadow standing at the water's edge. But the crocodile brain is wired to react strongly to movement. As the shoebill continues standing as still as a dry tree stump, the mother's vigilance slowly eases. Around the nest, tiny crocodiles, just a few days old, are swimming lazily about. Their still soft skin is exposed right within the sightline of the one waiting. The sun continues rising higher. The heat blankets the entire swamp, turning the mudflats around the nest into scorched dry ground under the midday sun. Meanwhile, the young are still too small to understand the danger. They splash and swim, drifting a little further from their mother's protective circle with every passing minute. In the end, the heat wins. The mother crocodile slides into the shallows to cool down, eyes still directed toward the nest, but her body has moved away. The moment of waiting has arrived. Between the mother and her young, there is now a few meters of shallow water, short enough for the shoebill to close in, but too far for the mother to intervene in time. Every step placed in the water is lighter than a falling leaf. In the swamp, even one small ripple could bring the mother crocodile turning back. The long neck suddenly bends downward. The shoe-shaped beak drives forward so fast that the naked eye can barely register it. By the time the water sprays upward, a young crocodile is already sitting inside the wide beak. The entire hunt ends in a single beat. Even the faint sound is enough to make the mother crocodile turn her head. She drives toward the nest, but everything is already too late. The shoebill swallows its prize clean, then quickly backs away from the water's edge. The distance just created is enough to avoid the desperate countercharge. Returning to the nest, the mother crocodile releases deep, low calls. But one of the young in her clutch will never answer again. The shoebill stops at another shallow stretch of water and stands still once more. That composure reveals no trace at all of the hunt that just took place. The face is unchanged, round eyes, curved beak, and an expression so blank it is almost comical. It is hard to believe it just took a life. From lungfish buried in the mud, to large fish beneath the reed beds, to young crocodiles, very few creatures in the swamp are entirely safe from that beak. And yet, after everything, it only stands there. No roar of dominance, no fierce chase, just a motionless shadow in the middle of the endless papyrus sea. And perhaps that is precisely what makes the shoebill one of the most formidable hunters in Africa. The more still it stands, the more the swamp has reason to be afraid. Ngorongoro is an extinct volcanic crater about 20 kilometers wide. Around it rise sheer cliffs up to 600 meters high, closing into a sealed ring. Inside that basin, tens of thousands of animals live all year round. Even the pride was born here, hunts here, and spends its whole life circling within. For 3 days now, the whole pride has had nothing in its belly, and 3 days for a lion is a very long time. Every one of them is gaunt, ribs showing plainly beneath the skin. Out on the savanna, grass waist high is enough to hide a crawling lion. But in this basin, the grass reaches only the ankles, and everything is laid bare. That whole morning passed without changing a thing. Zebra were scarce, antelope were fast, and anything smaller had already slipped away before they could get close. Then the whole pride stops at the sight of a gray mass on the southern fringe. It does not lift its head and flee like every other animal, but simply stands there, grazing. On its nose grows a sharp horn over half a meter long. It is a black rhinoceros, 3 times the weight of a zebra and sheathed in skin 3 centimeters thick. For lions, the rhino has never been on the list of prey. It is not something to hunt, but something to get out of the way of whenever they happen upon it. Two days earlier, the whole pride had walked right past without bothering to look back. But hunger, dragged out long enough, will change the way anyone sees things. Normally, a hunt begins with hiding and crawling. But the grass here cannot conceal anyone, so the whole pride simply walks straight toward the spot. The rhino is one of the poorest sighted of all the large animals. Past a few dozen meters, everything blurs away, including a pride of lions drawing near. But what guides the rhino is not its eyes, it is its nose. That nose catches the scent of the pride while they are still a full 100 meters away. The rhino wheels fully around, aiming its horn straight at the pride. That horn grows right on the bridge of its nose, so every toss of the head becomes a genuine stab. The whole pride backs off, flattening down and panting. And they have just learned something. This animal does not run like prey, but turns and fights back like a true opponent. The whole pride creeps closer along the downwind side, so slowly as to be almost motionless. The distance shrinks bit by bit, while the rhino still keeps its head down, grazing the brush. The lead female circles once around the rhino, then stops. After that, she splits the pride in two, half moving up in front, half pulling well back behind. The front group runs across before the rhino's face, and the horn turns to follow them. Wherever the horn points, its own back is left exposed on that very side. The rhino suddenly feels a weight bearing down on its back. Several golden bodies have caught hold up there, and their teeth are searching for a place to sink in. But the fangs bite in only to slip out again. That 3-centimeter thick skin is built of thousands of fibers braided crosswise into one another, and no tooth can pierce through it. The pride flattens itself against the ground, flanks heaving with rapid breath, and the rhino still stands there, its smooth gray hide untouched, without a single scratch. The rhino calmly turns back to grazing the low brush. But the lead female's eyes never leave it, and this time her gaze drops lower, toward the belly. Not every part of its body is equally thick. The lower belly and the two sides at the armpits are far thinner, and that is the only place where fangs can pierce through. The whole pride form is up once more, but this time the target has changed. The front group draws the horn off to one side, while the other group aims straight at the lower belly. The rhino begins to spin in place right where it stands. The horn sweeps out a closed circle, and inside that circle, there is not a single gap. The whole pride tries this side and that, but not one can slip through to the rear. Before they can even set foot behind it, the tip of the horn is already waiting there. Dozens of minutes pass without either side gaining a step. The only difference is that the pride grows wearier by the moment, while the rhino still stands exactly where it was. Then, the lead female sees something she had been overlooking. Right behind the rhino, about 50 meters off, is a dense, low-growing thicket of thornbush acacia. The whole pride forms into an arc and presses gradually toward it. The rhino backs off step by step, its horns still aimed out, while its back draws closer and closer to the thorns. The acacia branches interlace densely behind its back, thick as a living wall. With every backward step, the space for it to turn about narrows a little more. That thicket of thorns is what the pride spent the whole afternoon driving it toward. And now, the rhino itself uses it to fight back against them. The lion, clinging to its back, has nowhere left to jump down. The rhino runs straight into the acacia, dragging its whole back backward through an entire mass of dense thorns. African acacia thorns are as long and hard as iron nails. One lion has an entire flank torn open, straining to brace its legs and stand, but each time it buckles down again. The rhino turns its horn toward the one that just fell, and with that, the whole pride must retreat. They draw back and away. For the rhino, the battle just fought was no more than a passing breeze. It steps a few paces out of the acacia, then lowers its head to the nearest bush and grazes. After a whole long afternoon, there is not a single wound upon its body. The gray hide is still smooth and untouched, and the horn on its nose still gleams clean. About 50 meters off, the whole pride lies flattened in the short grass. The wounded one licks endlessly at the tear along its flank, while the others simply lie still and look on. That is the price of choosing the wrong opponent on a hungry day. Not a scrap of meat, and a hunter of the pride left wounded besides. Then the lead female stands and turns toward the north. Over that way is a herd of zebra grazing, prey far better suited to the reach of their jaws. Beside a shallow water hole in the dry season, the soft mud holds a dense scatter of footprints, large and small. A small round print of a calf sits pressed right beside the broad footprint of its mother. Only moments ago, the whole herd had ambled down together for a drink. But with a single misstep, the calf sank into the soft mud at the water's edge. An adult elephant's legs are tall enough to wade through, but the calf sinks to its belly. Each time it strains to pull one leg free, the other three only drive deeper into the mud. The mother hurries close, slipping her trunk beneath the calf's belly to lift. That trunk, which can hoist hundreds of kilos, now trembles faintly, not from the weight. Because about 100 meters off, in the tall grass, the lionesses lie in wait. A calf trapped in mud is the very chance they've awaited through the whole long dry season. But the mother is far from alone. For an elephant herd is a tight-knit, matriarchal society. One wades in at once, using her feet to push away the mud clamping around the little one. Then the others join the rescue one by one. Not a single one stands aside. For them, the next generation is always the shared responsibility of the whole family. As the mother pours her strength into pulling the calf, the herd silently draws into a circle. Every head, every pair of tusks faces outward in all four directions, shielding the young one at the center. Seeing this, the lionesses rise and advance a few paces to probe. But a dozen adult elephants instantly turn to face them. Ears flared wide, white tusks aimed straight at them. A lion's fangs are all but useless against an elephant's hide, while those tusks are deadly enough. Knowing they cannot win, the four lionesses falter, then quietly turn away. The calf stands on the bank, legs still trembling, as its mother gently lays her trunk on its back to soothe it. And from the south, another sound carries over, the hoofbeats of hundreds of animals. That sound grows louder and louder until hundreds of buffalo come surging toward the dry river. Lost within that churning black mass is a small buffalo calf, walking close beside its mother. The lionesses had been silently trailing the buffalo herd all along. The moment the calf is swept apart from its mother by the current, they shift their course at once. Missing nothing, one lioness lunges out. It seizes the calf, and the calf's shrill scream rings out, tearing across the space above the river. The whole herd had just reached the southern bank when it froze. Then as one mass wheeled sharply back around, hundreds of curved black horns now all point together toward the young one being pinned. Before the overwhelming force of the entire herd, the lioness is forced to release its prey and flee. The calf, though covered in scrapes, still struggles to its feet, ringed and guarded by the whole herd. The calf staggers after its mother, merging back into the herd that shelters it. Across the river, a troop of baboons is spreading out to forage beneath the towering acacias. But hidden up in one of those very trees, a leopard lies pressed flat against a branch. Its spotted coat blends into the bark, its golden eyes intently following every movement of the troop. Below the tree, the baboons dig in the earth for food, some mothers still carrying young on their backs. One infant has just climbed down, wandering off curiously to play in the dirt, utterly unaware of the danger. The more it plays, the farther the infant drifts from its mother, just a few short steps. But those few steps are enough for a leap from the tree to be faster than any reach of its mother's arm. Then the hunter strikes. From the high branch, the leopard drops and plunges down, snatching up the infant in a single beat, faster than any reflex of the mother baboon beside it. The whole baboon troop erupts into chaos. Alarm calls ring out across the forest, but the leopard has already clamped its jaws on its prey. It grips the little one tight and quietly carries it off. Behind it, the mother baboon still follows without letting go, screaming in anguish while helplessly watching her child grow ever more distant. Just minutes later, all the cries gradually fade. The hunt is over, and once again, the law of survival tips toward the predator. In primates, the bond of a mother runs so deep that she still silently trails the one who stole her child. The forest slowly falls quiet. Then from afar echoes a burst of fierce sound. It's the barking of a pack of wild dogs, scrambling in alarm toward the tall grass. Right beneath an acacia lies a deep den, where pups just a few weeks old sleep soundly. What throws the whole pack into panic is the lions, the battered survivors after their crushing defeat by the buffalo. To them, the dogs are rivals for prey, to be killed on sight whenever the chance arises. The pack leader plants itself right at the den's mouth, facing down creatures many times its own weight. To charge in is certain death, but behind it lies the entire hope of the pack's next generation. With just two curt signals, the group instantly splits in two. Three throw themselves recklessly out to provoke the lions, nipping at their flanks, then darting away to lure them off. While the three decoys draw the lions away, four other members rush straight to the den mouth to evacuate the pups. The rest fan out to keep watch, guarding against any threat. The first four reach safety, but two of the smallest still remain in the den. The lead mother carries one out ahead, then hurries back to fetch the very last. At that same moment, far off, a few decoys still tirelessly lead the lions in circles. One hunter, wounded from the clash with the buffalo, keeps falling behind. But at that very instant, another lion, still full of vigor, cuts sideways and brings down the slowest one. The unlucky victim is not the pup's father or mother, but only an app. It falls, but because of it, all six pups make it back to the new den. For wild dogs, a single individual may fall, so long as the whole generation is saved. At the new den, the pups lie heaped on one another, fast asleep after the long journey. Around the edge, the whole pack quietly stands guard, their numbers now fewer than in the morning. Before long, the mother returns and lies down to nurse her pups. The tiny bellies quickly press in close, jostling over the precious milk. None of them know that to earn this moment of peace, the whole pack had to pay with the life of one aunt. As evening falls, the mud around the waterhole is etched with the footprints of countless species overlapping one another. Round prints, cloven hoof marks, and long, slender tracks. Each footprint is the mark of a battle for survival. And right now, all across the savannah, thousands of other mothers still stand between their children and death. The grassland of southern Africa, in the middle of the dry season, earth cracked open in great patches, grass burned flat, and the last water source vanished many weeks ago. But deep beneath the dry surface, a creature still exists. Its body nearly shut down, metabolism drastically reduced to hold on to its last reserves of moisture. Through months without eating or drinking, heart beating slowly, waiting for the familiar signal that will wake the body back to life. The sky to the west begins to darken, black clouds rolling low and carrying a damp wind. Then the first drops of rain fall onto the dry earth and seep into the cracks. The rain grows heavier, softening the parched soil, water pooling in small patches across the cracked surface, carrying moisture and new vitality to the arid land. Then the earth stirs. A crack widens, mud bursts upward, and from below, a large head with amber eyes slowly rises after months of concealment. The African bullfrog has a body as dense as a mass of muscle sunk in mud, jaws occupying nearly half its head, lined with small spike-like teeth. Once prey has entered, there is no escape. A body not built for running, it only needs to lie still and wait for prey to come to it. And after months of starvation, the hunting instinct rises back with full force. Small insects crawl across the wet mud. Another bullfrog lies watching the ground, its body blending almost completely into the mud color. A millipede passes close. The bullfrog's mouth snaps open, tongue fires out, jaws close. From the moment the prey touches down to the moment it disappears takes half a second. 10 minutes. Dozens of insects have vanished. The frog makes use of the brief rainy days to rapidly recover the energy burned away through the entire dry season. But insects are only the appetizer. For them, anything that fits in the mouth is food. And around the newly formed water pools, larger prey gradually appears. A field mouse steps out from the wet grass, searching for seeds along the water's edge, nose down low, completely unaware that death is waiting just ahead. It takes one more step, then the mud explodes. The frog's mouth snaps open, swallowing the mouse whole, locking every struggle down with the sharp teeth lining its mouth. The eyeballs press downward to help push the prey deeper into the throat. The mouse disappears, hind legs kicking weakly, then going still. The belly swells, but the mouth is already ready for the next one. 2 weeks after the rain, the savanna is drying again. Insects and small reptiles are more active, and the bullfrog has left the water pool, sitting motionless like a lump of dry mud on the red earth. A small snake slides past, just 20 centimeters away, tongue flickering, head raised to probe the environment. It is still too small to recognize the danger directly in front of it. The snake glides across the frog's field of view. A strike launches upward, misses. Red earth flies up as the prey attacks and tries to find a way out. The second lunge lands true. Jaws lock onto the head, spiked teeth drive deep. The snake's body coils and tightens around the frog, but is pressed flat against the ground. The frog begins to swallow. The grassland returns to quiet. The frog, lying still under the warm sun, belly rounded and full, beginning the slow process of digestion after a series of heavy meals under the sunlight slowly returning. The rainy season brings not only food, but the opportunity to breed, when all activity must happen quickly before the last drop of water disappears. At the largest water pool in the area, dozens of males gather, throats swelling as deep calls roll across the savanna, drawing females and staking out control of the breeding center. The strongest male holds the central position where the water is deepest, while others ram, press, and bite each other to win the only chance to continue their lineage. When the female arrives, mating is quick. Eggs are fertilized immediately and cling to moss and grass, beginning a life cycle that must outrace the receding water. Tadpoles hatch, thousands of tiny bodies swimming frantically in the warming pool, eating algae and each other to grow, because their life cycle is shorter than the pool sustaining them. Many weeks pass, the harsh sun returns, the pool shrinks day by day from a wide pond to a small puddle. Tadpoles packed together in a life source that is steadily running out. And in the middle of the shrinking pool, the father frog stays. He looks at the mud ridge dividing two pools of water, then quietly uses his hind legs to break through the mud, channeling his young through to the water on the other side. After hours of digging mud, under the blazing sun, his strength is spent, skin dry, eyes half closed. Yet he has held on to the chance of life for thousands of tadpoles. A smaller frog enters the territory being guarded. But for the bullfrog, a smaller member of its own species can sometimes also become food. The lunge happens quickly and decisively. As the dry season turns back, the instinct to protect and the instinct to hunt exist within the same body. Tadpoles begin to grow legs, some metamorphosing into frogs in fewer than 3 weeks, fingernail-sized, leaving the muddy pool to step into the high-risk world above the waterline. But the moment they reach the bank, the young frogs face hunting birds, snakes around the water's edge, and other adult frogs, because when hungry, this species does not distinguish its own kind. Most do not survive the first week. Of thousands of eggs, only a few will still be alive by the following rainy season, but those that remain will grow into monsters like their father. The pool has dried completely. The last tadpoles have left, and the father frog gazes silently at the empty patch of earth, sitting at the edge of dry mud, sensing the heat of the dry season slowly returning. Then the old instinct wakes. It begins to dig, hind legs driving hard, body sinking gradually into the hardening mud, preparing for the next long sleep. Mud slowly covers the back, the head, then both eyes, leaving behind a water-retaining membrane that gradually encases the body like a survival cocoon for the dry months ahead. The earth cracks open again, grass burns flat under the scorching sun, the water pools vanish entirely, and deep below the dry ground, the bullfrog lies still with a slowing heart, waiting for the next rain. A young frog that survived the rainy season sits near the drying bank. No larger than a coin, it has just caught its first ant. Life starts here. If it survives the first dry season, it will burrow into a mud cocoon like its parents, then emerge after the rains, larger, stronger, with a mouth that grows wider with every hunting season. The hot wind sweeps across the savanna. The cracked, dry earth is completely silent. But deep below, hundreds of bullfrogs lie still inside their own water-retaining membranes. And that is how the African bullfrog survives. The most voracious predator on the savanna is also the one that buries itself in a sleep lasting many months, just to exchange it for a handful of opportunities. Field mice still search for seeds. Grass snakes still hunt, completely unaware that the danger sleeping beneath their feet needs only one rain to open its mouth. The rainy season will return, perhaps soon, perhaps late. But without needing to know the timing, it only needs to feel the first vibration when water touches the earth. The first raindrop will fall, the earth will soften, pools will form, insects will surge, and from beneath the cracks, amber eyes will open again, beginning a new hunting season. But for now, the grassland is still dry and hot, and deep beneath the dark earth, it still lies there, waiting. The ground trembles faintly. Not rain yet, only wind moving through the grass. But sooner or later, the water will return, and it will be here when that happens. Through the still water blanketing the surface of the marsh, where the light of dawn barely touches a few inches of the waterline, a sound of heavy breathing rises from the reeds. It is not the sound of fish breaking the surface, nor the wind moving through the grass. It is the breath of a creature, watching your every move. Okavango does not welcome you. It tests you, and whoever hesitates will not have time to understand where they went wrong. Welcome to Okavango, not a river, not a lake. This is a survival machine powered by floodwater, sunlight, and blood. A place where every flood season is a rebirth, and every nightfall is a survival contest that no one is allowed to lose. Here, humans are only observers. No privileges, no protection, only the naked truth of nature. Before going deeper into this journey, if you carry within you the fire of the wild, subscribe now so you never miss a thing. Because what lies ahead is not a sightseeing tour. This is a survival challenge in the heart of Africa's greatest flood delta. If Okavango has a king, it is not the species that swims the fastest. It is the species that dares to wade through deep water to claim the right to rule. With a body weighing over 200 kilograms and a jaw force exceeding 300 kilograms, the lions of Okavango bring down a water buffalo like a giant vice, clamping shut and never letting go. But their true strength is not in the strike. They are population controllers that help maintain the balance between the buffalo herds and the vegetation across the entire delta. In Okavango, lions do not hunt in the usual way. They ambush from floating grass islands. Each move forward a silent chess game. The pride splits into groups. One side creates noise to herd the prey. The other lies waiting in silence. This tactic has been passed down through generations of Okavango lion prides. But this land is shrinking. Poaching and agricultural fencing fragment territories. Lion prides grow smaller and no longer carry enough genetic diversity to survive. The lions of Okavango, who have learned to live with water, are now learning to live with a threat they cannot hunt: the disappearance of their own home. Okavango draws a long breath, and in the distance, another call begins to rise. If the lion is the king of strength, then the African wild dog is the genius of the collective, the only species that wins through discipline, not muscle. Weighing only 25 kilograms, yet with a hunting success rate of up to 80%, higher than both lions and leopards. Their weapon is not fang and claw, but perfect coordination requiring no language. They are the engine of the ecosystem. Each hunt moves the prey herds, creating a cycle of rotation that allows the grasslands of Okavango to recover and spread. Before a hunt, the entire pack performs a ritual. They lick each other's faces, heads touching heads, not out of affection, but as a combat ceremony. After that, no one leaves anyone behind. They share food first with the young and the sick, the only species in Okavango that places care for others above its own needs. Fewer than 6,600 individuals remain across all of Africa. Rabies, from domestic dogs, farmers' snares, and habitat loss, are wiping out the continent's most skilled hunters. Every wild dog pack is a miniature society. When a pack disappears, it is not just animals that are lost. An entire culture of hunting built across generations is lost with them. Night falls over Okavango, and beneath the water, something older, colder, begins to move. If the lion is king on land, and the wild dog is the master tactician, then the crocodile is the primal darkness of Okavango, the species that witnessed the extinction of the dinosaurs and is still here. The crocodile's jaws generate a bite force exceeding 1,700 kilograms, more than any living creature on Earth. A single roll of the body underwater tears apart anything in just 3 seconds. But the crocodile is not only a destroyer, they are natural canal diggers. Their sleeping hollows create water pools that help hundreds of species survive through the dry season. Crocodiles do not give chase. They wait, sometimes for hours, even days, until the prey steps close enough that no escape remains. When they strike, there is no warning, no running start, only the water breaking open for one beat, and everything is already over. Despite existing for over 200 million years, the crocodiles of Okavango are losing their habitat. Water pollution and agricultural land conversion are shrinking the living space of the oldest surviving reptile on Earth. A species that has survived 5 mass extinctions now faces a threat that no evolution can defend against: human indifference. The water surface goes flat again, but just nearby, a heavier breath, a larger body, begins to rise. But the story does not stop with predators. As we leave the shallows, another world begins to reveal itself. The world of the giants that lie beneath the surface. This is the deep water of Okavango, where light does not reach the bottom, and anyone who enters cannot determine where they stand in the food chain. The floodwater does not only bring fish and plants, it brings the hippopotamus, a species weighing 4 tons, the most aggressive and most important creature in the entire delta ecosystem. If the crocodile is the silent darkness, then the hippopotamus is a moving storm. And the next part of this journey will take us straight into the eye of that storm. The hippo does not need to hunt to become the most dangerous creature in Okavango. It is dangerous simply because it exists, and no species is allowed to forget that. Weighing over 4 tons, capable of running at 30 kilometers per hour on land, jaws that open to 180 degrees. Hippos kill more people in Africa than any other large animal, including lions. But the hippo is a nutrient pump. Every day they deposit hundreds of kilograms of organic matter into Okavango, feeding the algae, feeding the fish, and sustaining the entire food chain below. Male hippos mark territory by spinning their tails and spraying dung, the clearest and most undeniable boundary language Okavango has ever known. When territory is violated, there is no negotiation. 2 males crash into each other, jaw against jaw, the sound of impact splitting the air until one submits or flees. But hippos are disappearing. Prolonged drought, declining flood levels, and ivory poaching are pushing this species toward the endangered list. An Okavango without hippos would be a dead river. Newborn hippo calves need clean water to breathe. When the water is polluted, when flood levels no longer rise high enough, the survival rate of the next generation drops to catastrophic levels. The water rises, the water recedes, and in that cycle, nothing is permanent. Every strength has its limit. Every territory has its end. Here, speed no longer matters. Strength no longer matters. The survivor is the one who can read Okavango, knowing when to be still, when to strike, when to step back. Tonight, the lions have cornered a buffalo herd at the water's edge. The crocodiles are waiting below. The wild dogs stand at the rim of the darkness, and the hippos do not care about any of them. A sound. The buffalo herd breaks in every direction. Water explodes upward. And in that chaos, Okavango takes its share, as it has done for millions of years. The loser of tonight will vanish without a trace. Only the ripple of water spreading outward, and the silence of Okavango answers everything. Everything you have just witnessed is not a collection of separate stories. Okavango is a living organism, and every species is an irreplaceable cell within it. Lions control the buffalo herds. Wild dogs distribute prey across the territory. Crocodiles dig canals. Hippos nourish the water. Switch off one, and the entire system will tilt. Okavango does not exist because of floodwater. It exists because of balance. A balance rewritten over millions of years, now being erased in just a few centuries. And when one link disappears, it is not just one species that is lost. It is an entire ecological symphony that has never been written before and will never be written again. But the most dangerous creature in Okavango is not the lion, not the crocodile, not the hippo. It is us, the only species that destroys without needing to be hungry. Hydroelectric systems upstream are regulating the flow. Less floodwater means less grassland, fewer fish, less life, diminishing at every level, multiplying downward. Poaching does not only kill animals, it shatters social structures. Lion prides lose their leaders, wild dog packs lose their memory, hippos lose their guide generation. And the price to be paid is not only nature's to bear. When Okavango dies, the millions of people who depend on its water and tourism will lose everything. When the lion's roar fades into the night, when the wild dog pack disappears behind the curtain of grass, when the water surface returns to calm as though nothing ever happened. The question that remains is not, what have we discovered? It is, do we have enough time to change? Before the answer becomes a permanent silence. What will we have left when Okavango no longer floods? When the greatest survival machine in Africa finally runs out of fuel? Okavango is still here, still flowing, still alive. But for how long depends on the answer we choose to give today. If this journey has made you shudder, left you unsettled, or simply made it impossible to look at Okavango the same way again, leave a comment below. And until next time, at the next brutal survival arenas, where nature does not ask if you are ready, a small beetle continuously lifts its feet off the scorching sand. Here the heat exceeds 60 degrees. This is the Namib, the oldest desert on the planet, having existed for nearly 80 million years. Every dawn, the ocean sends water into the desert, the cold Benguela current meeting hot sand, raising white walls of fog that roll across the red dunes. On the dune crest, a fog beetle tilts its body into the wind. Tiny water droplets condense on its back, then run down toward its mouth. Here, water appears for only a few minutes. Through that fog, lean shapes move silently toward the west. That is the desert lion pride. Their legs are longer, their bodies leaner, and they have had nothing to eat for nearly a week. The pride leader goes first. It has crossed this route many times, from dry riverbeds out to where the sand meets the sea. In this land, memory is worth more than strength. As the sun climbs, the fog burns away. The sand heats up steadily. The entire pride follows the dry bed of the Hoanib River. On the surface, there is only white sand, but deep beneath, there is still something they are searching for. Enormous footprints appear in the sand ahead. A desert elephant herd has just passed through. For them, every water point is a memory passed down from generation to generation. Ahead, the oldest cow begins to dig, the hole growing deeper with every scoop. But at the bottom, there is only sand and more sand. The water source that memory has preserved for years has run dry. The elephant cow stands silently at the edge of the hole. Her trunk sweeps the bottom one more time, then stops. The entire herd waits. Heat rises off their dust-covered backs. No water. The cow turns and walks on toward the upper reaches of the river. The shapes form a long line behind her, moving slowly through the white glare of the dry riverbed. Not long after, a small form buckles under exhaustion. The mother hurries back, using her trunk to lift the calf. Then she calls out, a deep sound that carries and echoes between the rock walls. At the narrowest section of the riverbed, digging begins again. Sand keeps flying to both sides. Half a meter down, the color of the earth changes. Then from the bottom of the hole, the first hint of moisture appears. Minutes later, clear water seeps up between the dark sand. Trunks reach down. The journey is not over, but today they have found what all of Namibia is thirsting for. Hartmann's mountain zebras appear along the riverbed. They hold at a safe distance, eyes fixed on the waterhole in the middle of the ring of enormous bodies. In the distance, the lion pride has also arrived. They lie still beneath low trees, waiting for ownership of the ground around the waterhole to change. When the elephant herd disappears around a bend in the river, the small waterhole belongs to those who came after. The lions drink for a long time, but empty bellies pull the entire pride away from the shade. Across the yellow scorched grassland, a gemsbok shimmers into view through the heat haze. It stands still, eyes half closed, as though the heat has nothing to do with it. A lioness lowers her body and moves closer, step by step, through the low scrub. Ahead, the gemsbok keeps grazing, but its ears rotate continuously, picking up sounds from very far away. A very slight shift in the wind. The oryx suddenly raises its head, ears straight up, eyes wide open. The entire body freezes for a few short beats. The lioness breaks from the scrub. The prey spins and launches away at once, long strides tearing across the grassland. Behind it, the hunter's breathing grows heavier. The gemsbok stops far away, calmly looking back. What was a chase for it turned out to be nothing more than a light morning exercise. And the lord of the grassland is gasping for air. The lion pride continues west. The red dunes slowly fall behind, giving way to white coastal sands. On the wind, the familiar scent that the entire pride has been following all morning drifts in. Then the ocean appears. The skeleton coast stretches out beneath a thin veil of mist, where the Namib Desert meets the Atlantic after hundreds of kilometers of dryness. Bleached whale bones lie scattered across the sand. Further on, shipwrecks protrude through the sea fog like shadows left behind and forgotten many years ago. Offshore, the current continuously pushes nutrients up from the ocean floor. It is that very current that turns this harsh coastline into an area teeming with life. Thousands of Cape fur seals pack a narrow strip of sand between the waves in the desert. Their calls echo along the coastline, mixing with the wind and the sound of surf breaking against the shore. Among that crowd, mother seals continuously move in and out of the water to feed. On the beach, their pups wait, each one having to recognize its own mother's voice among thousands of identical sounds. At the edge of the colony, a shaggy brown shape moves quietly along the sand's edge. A brown hyena keeps its distance, eyes scanning the gaps where protection is thinnest. But today, it is not the only one to have come. On the eastern slope of the sand, large golden shapes emerge through the mist, eyes locked down onto the seal colony. The brown hyena catches the scent of lion on the wind. Immediately, it leaves everything behind and runs, no backward glance. On this beach, the smaller one always leaves before the larger one arrives. Behind the dune crest, a lioness slowly lowers her body. This is the moment the entire pride has been waiting for throughout the long day. She launches off the dune crest and drives straight down the beach. The entire seal colony plunges simultaneously toward the waves, wet sand spraying up. The roar of chaos drowns out the sound of breaking surf. Seal flesh is rich with moisture in a way that no prey of the desert can match. For a species living in one of the most arid places on Earth, it is a resource of almost unbelievable value. As the afternoon fades, the entire pride rises and turns back toward the desert. Their footsteps are entirely different from the morning, firmer, stronger, carrying within them the energy for the long road ahead. They pass the water hole the elephants dug that morning. The water is still there. The zebra herd is drinking. But this time, the lions do not stop. Their thirst was answered long ago. Then the entire pride returns to the familiar sand slope, the place where they lay in hunger and waiting this morning. The same shapes, but no longer the exhausted creatures of dawn. The desert lions of Namibia travel further than any other lions on Earth, because here, water and food never sit in the same place. They are scattered across the desert out to the edge of the sea. Across a land that seems to hold nothing but sand and rock, water has never truly disappeared. It only changes location, conceals itself, and forces every creature to go searching for it. Over millions of years, every species in Namibia has learned its own way of following that precious thing. No path is quite the same as any other. A cold current offshore can sustain an entire coastline. A thin layer of morning fog can hold life together on a dune crest. An underground water source can decide the fate of an entire animal herd. Namibia is where the desert meets the ocean. But more deeply, it is where every journey begins from the same need, to find water. Day after day, old footprints fade in the sand. But the search has never stopped. Because in the Namib, survival is not decided by the strongest or the fastest. It is decided by whoever finds water before it is too late. The Galapagos Archipelago in the light of dawn. Black lava stretches all the way to the waterline. Nothing suggests this is one of the most dangerous shores on the planet. Thousands of marine iguanas lie basking on the lava rock. Their body temperatures are gradually rising after the cold night. In a few seconds, one small individual will begin to move. Hidden in rock crevices and lava hollows, Galapagos snakes are waiting. A single small movement is all it takes to activate their entire hunting mechanism. This is a story about a moment. The moment when a reflex, one fraction of a second too slow, is the difference between life and death on this beach of death. The marine iguana is the only reptile in the world that lives and forages in the ocean. They exist only on the Galapagos archipelago and nowhere else on Earth. Young marine iguanas hatch from sand nests and must find their own way to the sea. No maternal protection, no group, only instinct and the harsh terrain ahead. Marine iguanas are ectotherms, so reflex speed depends on body temperature. In the early morning, when the body is still cold, they move slowly and are at their most vulnerable. Galapagos snakes evolved in parallel with marine iguanas on this archipelago. They are not venomous, but they possess reaction speed and group coordination rarely seen in snakes. One Galapagos snake glides through a rock crevice, tongue touching the ground continuously to collect scent signals and vibrations, a guidance mechanism optimized through evolution. The Galapagos shoreline is particularly dangerous due to the absence of shelter. The black, hard, and exposed surface means every movement is amplified into a clear signal. One marine iguana begins its journey to the sea in the morning. It knows that the rocky shore ahead already has snakes in position since before dawn. A snake not far away raises its head. The tongue begins moving faster. They cannot see it clearly, but they already know something is moving. The marine iguana stops completely. It stands motionless on the black lava, its body nearly blending into the environment. Stillness, the only remaining strategy. This is both the best option and the limit of survival, because Galapagos snakes do not see in the conventional sense. They prioritize detecting movement. Galapagos snakes have visual systems sensitive to movement, but less sensitive to stationary objects, a trait common among reptiles. This creates a paradox. Staying still helps avoid detection, but staying still also means not being able to advance to the sea, the only place where they have a terrain advantage. Galapagos snakes do not hunt alone. When one detects movement and moves toward it, that very movement activates the other individuals around it. The iguana's body temperature at this point is around 20 degrees, lower than the optimal 35 degrees needed for muscles to operate at full capacity. The marine iguana can only follow instinct, stay still, and wait. But if the snakes arrive before its body temperature is high enough, the chance of escape is nearly zero. The snakes continuously sweep the area with their tongues, collecting scent molecules, analyzing vibrations, processing visual information, a detection system always in operation. The distance closes. The marine iguana holds completely still. It is gambling that motionlessness will keep it concealed long enough, a wager that will be decided in the next few seconds. A gust of wind passes. The tail of the marine iguana sways slightly, less than 1 centimeter, but enough to break the state of concealment. The marine iguana realizes it has been detected and begins to run. Immediately, the surrounding snakes shift to attack speed. The lava rock shore suddenly becomes a race between life and death. Galapagos snakes run faster than the marine iguana at its current body temperature. The distance closes with every second. The first snake locks its body around the iguana in a coil. Not a killing coil. This is a restraining coil to hold the prey while the others close in. Within the snake's coil, the iguana continues to thrash, searching for any point of leverage it can use to break free. Its muscles continue contracting on survival instinct. It needs an opening. The opening appears. As the snake adjusts its coiling position, a small gap opens. The iguana twists in an instant, relying on a triggered nerve reflex. It breaks free from the hold and lunges toward the nearest rock. Not a conscious choice, but the only direction still open in that fraction of a second. The rock provides a temporary advantage. The Galapagos snakes must go around, while the marine iguana climbs straight to the top, a brief window to escape direct pressure. The marine iguana stands on top of the rock, panting. Below, the snakes reposition, not retreating, only adjusting their angle of approach. Body temperature begins to rise under the sunlight, improving reflexes. But energy has been depleted by the earlier sprints. It lies still on the rock, deliberately basking. Every second of heat absorption restores a portion of speed, the deciding factor for the next movement. Across the Galapagos archipelago, thousands of marine iguanas make the journey from nest to sea each year. It is estimated that only around 1/3 reach the water. Those that survive carry the genes of faster reflexes. Over thousands of generations, the Galapagos rocky shore has shaped a species of marine iguana that grows increasingly skilled at escape. And Galapagos snakes have also evolved in response, faster and more sensitive to smaller movements. This is an evolutionary arms race with no finish line. The pause is over. The iguana begins moving westward, but that very movement activates additional individuals. On the western side of the shore, Galapagos snakes begin to converge. No individual gives a command, but small movements ripple from one to the next, closing into a tightening circle around the prey. From every possible escape direction, black heads are sliding forward. The shoreline is no longer a path. It has become a living trap system. When the snakes had closed in too near, it made the only choice remaining. To leap from the cliff face, it disappears into the cold water, then reappears among the rocks. For a moment, its body nearly merges with the terrain. But here, escape is never an ending, only a delay. The moment one catches the movement, the signal instantly spreads through the group. Snake bodies coil tightly from multiple sides. Not one decisive bite, but steadily increasing pressure, each ring of muscle closing in. This is the law of the shoreline. One creature fights to survive, another survives by ending it. Harsh, immediate, and indifferent. That is the true nature of nature. Not far away, another Galapagos marine iguana lies still on the rock, absorbing heat. Every degree it gains restores a portion of speed and reflex. On this archipelago, Every morning is an unannounced test. The individual that survives does so not because it knows more, but because its reflexes aligned with the right moment. This is how Galapagos operates. Every iguana that is caught becomes the energy source for one more snake to survive and reproduce. Nothing is wasted. The marine iguanas that survive the morning will dive deep into the ocean to feed on seaweed and bring energy from the sea back to the rocky shore for the terrestrial ecosystem. The Galapagos shoreline in the light of late afternoon. Thousands of marine iguanas lie layered across the black rock, their body temperatures gradually dropping with the sun. They exist not because they are absolutely superior, but because every factor aligned in one moment: temperature, terrain, timing, and a measure of chance. Tomorrow, marine iguanas will again crawl out of the sand, and the snakes will again be there, waiting in the crevices. The question is never who is stronger. The question is always who is in the right place at the right time. Along the cold coastline of the eastern Pacific, a sea lion colony has just left the rocky shore and is swimming and playing near the surface on what seems like a peaceful morning. Beneath the darkening water, a large shadow silently accelerates with each stroke, heading straight up toward the sea lions floating above. A great white shark nearly 4 meters long erupts from the deep, its entire body becoming a gray arrow driving straight upward, where the sea lion's silhouette is clear beneath the sunlight. The surface explodes. The sea lion is hurled into the air. In one brief instant, the shark's jaws close and grind through the layer of blubber, pulling it under. The water churns violently, a red streak spreading fast through the stirred current, and the sea lion colony immediately scatters, driving back toward the rocks in chaos, breaking the order that had just existed. The shark does not stop. It circles, diving and surfacing in short loops, trailing whatever remains before gradually disappearing into deeper water. 30 seconds later, the sea surface is flat again. The foam dissipates, the last ripples die away, and the area, just moments before in chaos, quickly recovers its appearance of calm. A few minutes later, the sea lions slide back into the water, swimming around the rocks and gliding across the very spot where one of their group had just vanished, as though nothing had happened. The rocky shore is still crowded under the sun, and beneath the dark water below, the shadow is still moving along the coastline, quietly waiting for the next opportunity. But across the Pacific, there are trials even harsher than the hunt. It begins with a mother's journey. In warm tropical waters, sunlight filters down and traces bright lines along the back of a humpback whale mother and her newborn calf, barely 5 meters long, each tail stroke still clumsy. The mother uses her rostrum to lift the calf to the surface for its first breath. A small spout rises beside her large column of vapor, betraying the position of both in the middle of the open ocean. The calf presses against its mother's belly and drinks more than 100 liters of thick milk each day in order to grow fast enough, preparing for the thousands of kilometer migration ahead to the cold feeding grounds. These warm waters are safer for the calf, but there is nothing to eat here, leaving the mother growing thinner as her fat reserves drain away, while the most fearsome predator still prowls nearby. 2 weeks pass. The calf has grown more solid, flippers firmer, stroke more steady, keeping pace with its mother as the water around them shifts gradually from warm to cool. The mother's deep call resonates through the water, gently keeping the calf swimming close. But today, that sound has reached another presence that is silently approaching from far away. Then black dorsal fins appear, slicing across the water surface. Killer whales. They swim slowly, maintaining steady rhythm, patiently focused on the chase. The mother recognizes the danger, her warning call lower and more prolonged. She changes course, but the orcapod maintains speed and stays close behind. After an hour of pursuit, the calf grows weaker, flippers striking less powerfully, breathing faster, falling further behind the mother with every passing minute. And the eyes behind them wait silently on. The orcapod fans out, coordinating to push between the two. The mother turns and drives forward to shield the calf, but it is already too late. The gap to her young has stretched to 10 meters. She drives 15 tons into a tail strike, sending one flying. But it makes no difference. The entire pod has already encircled the calf, running it until it swims to exhaustion. The calf is spent, with nothing left. The entire pod drives in together, and the mother's call drops lower, resonating long through the water, calling for her young with growing desperation. The sea turns red across a wide area as the orcas take turns driving in. The calf no longer surfaces. Beneath the water, only the mother's call still carries long. When they are done, the orcapod disperses, the black fins again parting the water with the same steady rhythm as before. The waves erase the last traces of red, and the sea returns to its old blue. 10 minutes, then 20. The mother cannot leave this place. The call keeps rising and dissolving into silence, calling endlessly for a life that will never answer again. The calls grow more spaced, the silence is longer between them, and nearly an hour later, she turns and begins swimming south toward the cold sea and the food waiting ahead. The water where the calf went down has turned clear again. The ocean erases traces faster than any land, closing coldly over as though no life was ever lost here. But the Pacific never pauses for one life. The hunters continue on their way, heading northwest, following the trail of new prey. That target this time is a bull elephant seal more than 4 meters long, alone in the open ocean, steadily diving into dark water to hunt squid, then surfacing again to breathe. No group, no shelter in the open ocean, only the surface above and the darkness below. Every time it surfaces to breathe is a time it reveals itself. This time, the orcas change tactics. Instead of separating like they did with the whale, they shadow every dive and surface cycle. On top, the seal is too slow. Below, each breath of oxygen drains a little more. The elephant seal dives deeper, 200, 300, then deeper still. But the orcapod does not give up, waiting patiently for the moment it is forced to surface. And every time it rises, the black ring has already closed around the surfacing point, pushing it back under before it has recovered. Cycle by cycle, the seal's remaining strength is wrung out. Once more, the orcas close in, but the seal slips away in time. Running low on air from the deep dive, it shifts to horizontal swimming to conserve energy, quietly extending the distance from the hunting pod. By the third surfacing, it emerges more than 20 meters from where the orcas are waiting. The surfacing point keeps changing, making it impossible for the pod to predict a pattern. 40 minutes pass and the orca pod begins to spread its formation, the shadowing rhythm slowing. The elephant seal is still holding on, but the 2-ton body is also absorbing the exhaustion. Then the orcas withdraw, the black fins turning west, silently disappearing beyond the horizon. The pursuit ends in mutual exhaustion, the elephant seal surviving because it could outlast them underwater. For the first time in 40 minutes, the elephant seal lies still on the surface. The 2-ton body drifts on the swell, eyes scanning, chest drawing each breath heavily. But after only 10 minutes of rest, it must dive again to feed. The chase has burned through its reserves, and only the squid below can replenish them. The cycle of survival continues. Out there, the mother whale is still quietly heading south, her calls growing more spaced. The elephant seal is also alone at sea, more careful now, knowing every surfacing could be the last. The orca pod swims on into the distance, following a new target. And beneath the dark coastal water, the great white shark is still circling, black eyes scanning upward, waiting for the next shadow. 3 battles, 3 stretches of ocean. But to the sea, that is just an ordinary morning. Waves still roll, water still moves, and life and death are one and the same. In the Pacific, there is no wall dividing anything. Hunter, prey, or the one that just escaped, all swim in the same single ocean. Tomorrow morning, the sea lion colony will slide back into the water and play without bothering to look down. Another mother whale will guide her calf across the sea, and the ocean will look peaceful again. The afternoon sun scatters gold across the sea surface, but just below that mirror, reflecting blue sky, something is watching, waiting for the right moment. Somewhere out in the Pacific, the mother whale's call still resonates deep, carrying hundreds of kilometers. Not a single reply. But in the ocean, it is silence that is the most frightening thing of all. Blue sky, a light breeze, the surface unusually flat and still. That same appearance of calm is what drew the sea lion into the water, led the mother whale into the encirclement, and caused the elephant seal to surface in the wrong place. And right beneath that still, flat surface, a shadow is rising.